Happy Frog. In Ultimate Custom Night, watch out for Happy Frog, as she is sneaky and approaches via the air ducts overhead. One of the most frightening things about her is her bubbly, innocent appearance, which contrasts her murderous tendencies. But also, in truth, seems to inform us of her feelings regarding murder. What are her feelings, you ask? Well, it seems based on her reactions to killing you and the lines we hear her speak that it brings Happy Frog a lot of joy to do so. Yikes. One of the creepiest lines you can hear her say in the game is, "We've only just begun. I will never leave you. I will never let you rest." A frightening promise, to be sure. Please let me rest. Please leave me eventually.
And at 9, Ennard. Ennard is the true main antagonist of Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, composed of the endoskeletons of the sister location animatronics, and makes a return in Ultimate Custom Night. Ennard is one of the many funtime animatronics and is a human-like animatronic with a weird wire endoskeleton body. He has a white mask, a red nose, red eyebrows, and a green-yellow colored party top hat, and his body consists of wires with an endoskeleton, but it also has like a red button and multiple eyes all over it representing the different funtime animatronics. And in Ultimate Custom Night, Ennard climbs in the vent system, but unlike other animatronics in the vents, he is difficult to track, appearing only briefly here and there while moving. He can't really be seen in the vent opening, but gives himself away by making a squeaking sound before attacking. You gotta close the vent door to send him on his way. Aside from being just one of the creepiest animatronics design-wise, this dude is just a whole load of worrying crawling around through the vents. So yeah, this man is getting on the list 100%. And at 8, Music Man! Music Man is a viable animatronic from FNAF 6 Pizzeria Simulator and returns as an antagonist in Ultimate Custom Night. Music Man is kind of bipedal, although bipedal means you walk on 2 legs. This man eventually ends up having 4. I don't know if it's this version has 4, but he's white with pink accents on his eyelids, lips, nose, stomach, and has some purple accents around several areas. He represents a humanoid entity with spider-like legs blotched with purple coloring. His eyes are completely black with white pupils, similar to Freddy, and he has a black top hat guided with a white stripe, because of course, why do so many of these animatronics have top hats? His stomach contains a speaker with 2 separated speakers similar to the Fun Times. His symbol is yellow and has gray handles, but his properties are pretty damn special, okay? See, Music Man is sound activated, so with too much noise going on in the office, it will make him start crashing his cymbals. The player must then stop making noise or he'll crash the cymbals faster and faster, and eventually he'll jump scare you. And honestly, this is one of the most terrifying things in the game because the volume of the game itself is something that we can control, like through our computer, but the noise that the game makes isn't something that we have any say over. So you, in part, just need to hope that you're lucky, and then deal with the noise threats as they pop up. And at 7, Nightmare Chica. Nightmare Chica isn't a selectable character in Ultimate Custom Night, but is rather a secret character in the game that is spawned in by Dee Dee. Nightmare Chica's jaws will appear on the screen when she's spawned in. The player needs to turn on the power or AC to prevent her mouth from closing and never appear again. That's absolutely terrifying! Okay, just slowly watching the jaws of death surround your face after just randomly being summoned is absolutely shocking. Like, how do you react to that? You don't even need to see the animatronic for this to be absolutely terrifying, and that's saying something. Like you're just chilling there, and all of a sudden, this little pops up, she's like, how unfortunate, and then boom, you got the jaws of sudden death surrounding your mall. Like, why did you have to do this to Mommy Chica, okay? In nightmare form nonetheless. At least put me in Toy Chica's mouth, damn it. And at 6, Jacko Chica. Jacko Chica is an antagonist exclusive to the Halloween Update DLC for Five Nights at Freddy's 4, replacing Nightmare Chica, but she returns as an antagonist on Ultimate Custom Night. Jacko Chica is a Halloween-themed version of her original counterpart Nightmare Chica, and is a distorted, nightmarish version of Chica with several sharp teeth and wires sticking out from the torn parts of her body. Unlike her original counterpart though, she lacks eyes and an endoskeleton head, instead having a bright orange light in her eye sockets and torso, and an orange tint to fit with the Halloween theme. She also carries around a jack-o'-lantern instead of her iconic cupcake. When the office heats up to 90 degrees, Jacko Chica will appear in both halls at the same time. Once she is fully materialized, she will then jump scare the player, ending the game. The only way to stop her is by closing the left and right doors at the same time to make her vanish, but this will not work if the office reaches 100 degrees or more. Damn, now we gotta deal with heat too? Jesus. Halfway through into number 5, XOR. XOR is a special variation of DD in Ultimate Custom Night that replaces DD when playing 50-20 mode and on very rare occasions during normal gameplay. XOR, also known as Shadow DD, resembles the Shadow animatronics that appear in FNAF 2 and 3 and has a name that's kinda similar to the animatronic known by most fans as Shadow Bonnie. It is unknown if it is intentional or by coincidence, but while XOR cannot attack the player, she can appear in the office, rapidly sliding left and right while singing a distorted version of DD's song that's actually also in reverse. This is followed by a guitar riff signaling that if playing 50-20 mode, she has added all of the 6 secret characters that are not available in the selection screen. Okay, RWQFFASXC, which is Shadow Bonnie, Plush Trap, Nightmare Chica, Bonnet, Mini Renas, and Lulbit. If she appears during normal gameplay, she will either add a new character with a randomized setting from 1 to 20, or only one of the secret characters. Luckily. And for Helpy. Helpy is a small plastic figure from Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. He is also a returning character as an opponent in Ultimate Custom Night. Helpy is a mini version of Funtime Freddy from Sister Location. He has a white body with purple accents, pink cheeks, the ones on his face, get your head out of the gutter, a small black top hat, short black eyebrows, and he has eyes that have purple eyelids and blue pupils. Against his original counterpart, he has 2 circular hands, 4 fingers, and has no toes and no faceplates. Helpy also seems to be pretty fragile, since every time the player fails in a minigame, he ends up breaking his neck. R.I.P. Helpy. When Helpy appears in the office in Ultimate Custom Night, the player needs to click on him quickly, or he'll end up getting too close with an air horn, agitating sound-sensitive animatronics like Music Man up at the top. He also increases by 1 fast coin every time the player clicks on it. And at 3, Nightmare. Nightmare is the antagonist exclusive to the Halloween DLC for FNAF 4 and is a returning character in Ultimate Custom Night. Nightmare is a human-like animatronic that has a white mask with black tears, black lipstick, white dots for eyes, and has a row of teeth on the top and 6 teeth at the bottom. His body is black and is designed to look like a skeleton. He also has a large chest with ribs protruding from the sides like a little weirdo like me, okay? You can see my ribs under here. Slender body, skeletal legs, and arms with claws protruding at the end, and with white stripes at the end of his fingers. During the night, Nightmare will appear if the mouse cursor lingers over him, and once that starts happening, the player must avoid the area where he is. Taking too long to do so will cause Nightmare to fully reappear and jump scare you, so don't do it. But ultimately, in at number 2, a surprise guest, Mr. Hippo. Mr. Hippo is a viable animatronic from FNAF 6 and returns as an antagonist in Ultimate Custom Night. Mr. Hippo climbs through the duct system trying to reach one of the 2 hoses in the office. The player needs to use the audio lure to keep him in place, or they can use the heater to push him back. He is fooled 100% of the time by the audio lure and faster than Happy Frog. However, most of the scare factor doesn't come from their behavior, okay, or their design, but this time around, rather, Mr. Hippo's death lines. You see, Mr. Hippo has a knack for going on about things a lot, going on tangents, kinda like me, honestly. But he goes into like 5-minute long speeches that you have to deal with every time he kills you, meaning that if you get jump scared, you're boned for enough time to make a sandwich, which is annoying as hell. Get scared by him enough and eventually you'll end up being terrified of him because you know what comes after the smoke of the jump scare clears. And finally, in at number 1, Nightmare. Nightmare is the main antagonist of FNAF 4 who returns in Ultimate Custom Night. Nightmare is a bipedal black nightmare bear animatronic. His face features contain scratches and distorts all over. His muzzle and jaw contains white sharp teeth with blood stains in the corner near his black gums and another set of teeth inside his mouth. The dude is like a demented, like one of those chickens that are like fully black including their organs. He's like one of those but an animatronic bear. His eyes contain black eyelids, red irises, and he has a shiny yellow hat because of course he does. He's a version of Freddy. His body features contain a lighter accent on his large stomach and he has a shiny yellow bow tie and another set of teeth crossing over his stomach. This dude has so many teeth. Nightmare Fredbear and Nightmare are actually a tag team duo in Ultimate Custom Night, invisible to the cameras, and they can only be seen when they reach your doorway. Wonderful. Fredbear will take the left, Nightmare will take the right. And even then, only their eyes are visible, okay? When you see this, you gotta close the doors on their faces to send them back into the depths of hell from whence they came. And at 10, Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy is a bipedal rusty golden bear with lighter accents on his muzzle, ears, and stomach. He has black scleras representing being a stairless entity. I probably said scleras wrong, but you know what, I don't really care. He has multicolored wiring popping out of his eye sockets, arms, ears, knee pads, feet, everywhere. It will poke out. It's like a liquid. Golden Freddy's muzzle also has supportive gaped teeth, including his lower jaw. His teeth also appear to be a grayish white, resembling rust, kind of. I mean, it's a weird kind of rust. I don't know why the wiki says that. He appears to be slumped over sitting down, and as most of his iterations are. But in Ultimate Custom Night, Golden Freddy will occasionally appear in the office after the player closes down the monitor. The player must pull up the monitor again quickly or use the Freddy mask to make him disappear. Staring at Golden Freddy for too long will end the night and he'll jump scare you. Although I think the reason this version is so scary is because you can't get rid of him with the death coin, because if you try, you'll get jump scared by psychic friend Fredbear and you'll lose. So just hide. Just hide. That's what these games teach us. Don't fend for yourself, just hide. Hide in a mask. Hide behind your tablet. Hide behind technology. That's what all you commenters do anyways, right? And at 9, Glamrock Chica. This version of Chica is an antagonist. She is the Glamrock version of the original Chica, but these could also just be potentially reused toy animatronics. Just like the other members of the Glamrocks, she is dressed in a 1970s vibe. She is a white pink chicken with an orange beak, blue eyes, pink eyelids, and long eyelashes and orange feet, because you know, all chickens have this. She also has a few stray feathers that stick out from the top of her head and kind of act like hair with a pink bow around them, visible pink metal segments below her left eye, and a pink eyeliner above her right eye. Just like her toy and Funtime counterparts, this version of Glamrock Chica is noticeably more curvy, rather than simply round as like the original Chica is, which is gonna mean a whole lot more fan art. Chica also holds a blueberry blue and hot pink star-shaped guitar, and just like all of the Glamrocks, her eyes can be seen glowing red at times, which could also indicate facial recognition, just like the original toy animatronics had, even though it didn't really work because it was programmed by a serial killer. And at 8, Montgomery Gator. As an antagonist, Montgomery is an animatronic based on an alligator. He's actually the first animatronic to be based on a reptile. Just like the other members of the Glamrocks, he is designed to have a punk rock theme, thus dressed in an early 1970s aesthetic, and Monty is overall just colored green with patches of yellow on his stomach, jaw, and subsegments on his tail, and spots on his reptilian textured body, cause, you know, apparently the wiki had to specify that. He bears a red mohawk and a green colored suit of armor, which you won't be able to see on the green screen, cause you know, it's green. He has sharp teeth and claws painted in black, his eyelids, a streak-like paint on the muzzle, feet, and hands, excluding the fingers, are also tinted a purple color, and Montgomery ends up helping the Glamrock animatronic band as a bassist, although the fisherman in me wants to say bassist. He seems to be very tough or strong since we see him burst through a gate in the first gameplay trailer, as well as destroying a prop turret in the second, which is the most recent one. In Fury's Rage, he's also shown to be very self-loving and egotistical, stating that when he's defeated, "How can I lose? I'm so handsome." And honestly, I relate. And in 7, Roxanne Wolf. Roxanne Wolf appears to be based on the female version of Wolf from Freddy in Space 2, which is a side-scrolling fighter game individually developed and published by Scott Cawthon for Game Theory's 9-hour St. Jude Children's Research Hospital fundraiser. It is the sequel to the original FNAF 57, Freddy in Space from FNAF World. This game was made for a FNAF fan named Skylar. He had a YouTube channel named Skylar Ginn, but Skylar unfortunately had cancer and died on October 6, 2019. Just as the other members of the Glamrocks, Roxy's dressed in a 1970s, more like 80s vibe. Her facial features greatly resemble both Foxy and Mangle, most notably with the lipstick and her amber eyes, and Roxanne, however, has visible metal segments below her eyes to resemble whiskers, but I don't know why they're very clearly metal. It's kind of weird. Opposed to the red cheeks like Mangle does. Roxanne's ears also have a light gray center lined at the edges with a gray outline, and she has 2 earrings on both ears, which is 4 more earrings than I have. And in 6, Daycare Attendant. The Daycare Attendant, as it's referred to on the wiki, is actually just the Sundance or Moondrop animatronic that we've been seeing since the first trailer. The Daycare Attendant features a crescent moon-shaped head, with half of it being colored in black to fill in the missing portion. Its face is a large nose and large grin, coupled with 2 red glowing eyes, one of which is above the tip of its nose, because you know, we gotta love that. Its hands are the same white color with dark blue fingernails. It wears 2 leather wristbands and ribbons coming off of them, and a light blue nightcap and baggy pants covered in stars. In its sun version, it's colored almost entirely out of various shades of yellow. Its pants are now yellow and covered in brown stripes, and it has large yellow triangles protruding from its head to emulate those of the sun. You know how like kids draw suns? It's like that. Plus, its voice is just creepy as hell, especially in moon mode. If you've watched the last trailer, holy crap. It's also implied through the trailer that Sundance might actually be a guide, sticking close to the player and warning them about the time. Once it reaches a certain point though, like at night, Sundance will end up turning into Moondrop and then chase after the player. However, I haven't gotten the chance to play the game yet. Like I said, I'm playing it in like 20-30 minutes or something like that. When I take my lunch break, I'm going home to play it. So I'm unable to substantiate this claim at this time. But I'll be able to in like an hour. Halfway through into number 5, the Alpha Z group. Staff robots are much more humanoid, futuristic, and sci-fi themed than previous characters. Their bodies look very segmented, with torsos being a very small semicircle shape, and the legs being like a tower with 2 wheels. The robots have the word staff painted on their backs, and the color scheme of the robots are off-white with blue accents and large orange cheeks. Certain staff bots also hold different clothing depending on their job. One such is wearing a sombrero as a waiter in the El Chip restaurant, and one is wearing a cap and holding a flashlight as a patrol guard. A group of staff robots, though, known as the Alpha Z group, are abandoned staff robots seen in the trash zone. These variants are much dirtier and duller in color due to just being abandoned and, you know, in the trash, and their faces have tears and large toothy smiles drawn on them. Their lower arms have black stripes drawn on them, and they have the words "in your dreams" written across their chests. Finally, each one has 2 small glowing pupils in the center of their cold black eyes. These are the Nightmare Mini Arenas, as I was calling them, that we saw teased in the first Freddy and Friends cartoon, as well as the ones that appear in the final trailer for Security Breach right at the end. So they're not Nightmare Mini Arenas, which honestly is, that's fine with me. I'm glad that that's the case. And at 4, Destroyed Roxanne Wolf. In the 3rd episode of Freddy and Friends, a damaged Roxanne is shown for a single frame. While it's hard to make out what she looks like due to the severe glitches, because, you know, of course, she appears to have her eyes missing, as well as her now missing a large chunk of her face around the eyes. It is possible that she will have glowing robotic eyes similar to the ones of Withered Bonnie, or I guess the Alpha Z group. I'm still gonna call them Nightmare Mini Arenas because it's just easier. But in a poster Steel Wool released around last Christmas, it shows Roxanne holding a bag of coal with a sour expression. This could be implying that Roxanne is a somewhat rude, mischievous, and sour person. Or I guess thing. Personality. She has a bad personality. She also seems to be the most aggressive of the animatronics, as she can be seen chasing the player as well as clamping her jaw while attempting to push through a metal gate. So basically, she's the animatronic version of my father. Since also Roxanne seems to wander around the Pizzaplex aimlessly until spotting Gregory and then charging at him, kinda like my father does. It's likely that when inside Glamrock Freddy, she won't notice the player at all, and will just still stand in place, kinda like my dad too. Getting close to the end into number 3, Destroyed Glamrock Chica. A broken Glamrock Chica animatronic can be found in the sewer area, or I guess it's kinda sewers, but it's also kinda not. It's cracked and broken all over the body. We saw this in the final teaser image from that one doco stream. She has paint scraping off the legs and face, and her beak has been broken off, exposing her endoskeleton jaw. The lower left side of her torso also has a massive hole in it, and the plastic suit on her left arm is entirely missing, with the exception of her wrist. Glamrock Chica seems to wander around the Pizzaplex aimlessly as well until spotting Gregory and charging at him, but in her destroyed state, she seemingly runs a little faster. I guess maybe she's more aerodynamic, you know, because like all the air gets through, it's not stopped by the animatronic chassis, you know, flows through the robotic parts, I don't know. But when inside Glamrock Freddy, she doesn't notice the player at all. She'll just stand in place. But you're also able to like knock over like paint cans and stuff to distract her so that she can move away and then you can go, but you gotta be careful. You gotta do that fast. Penultimately, in at number 2, Music Man Spider. Security Breach introduces a new variant of Music Man who is much larger. The wiki calls him DJ Music Man, but it also says that that's just the placeholder and it will be replaced once something official comes out. Personally, I still prefer my name of Music Man Spider, mostly because it's a reference to Spider-Man from the 90s cartoon. This Music Man is extremely similar in head shape to the original, however many of the details have been swapped out. And he now has blue eyebrows and cheeks as well as pink nose and lipstick. His top hat now holds a green stripe, and the top row of his teeth are decorated to look like piano keys. He now dons a large pair of green and red headphones and wears big cartoony gloves on 6 spider-like limbs. Finally, this variant of Music Man is much larger than in the original, being about a story tall. with this character being teased in the second or third Freddy and Friends cartoon. I believe it was the third if I remember correctly. And the fact that MatPat was not only able to call it, but also have it be revealed shortly after he did call it, that's what makes me know that he is the true king of FNAF, okay? Despite Dawko and Markiplier's sub count, and despite the amount of videos that I've made on the subject. We have like almost a year's worth of FNAF videos, guys, okay? That's concerning. And finally, into number 1, Tentacle Monster. Now, this unknown tentacle-based animatronic could be one of many things, and is something MatPat talks about in his latest theories. However, while most people associate tentacles with Nightmare Eon, it would be very weird to see them appear in this game, since technically speaking, they're just like Freddy Fazbear in our universe. Since, while yes, they appeared in FNAF 4, their appearance in that game was not canon. However, their appearance in the Night Terrors of FNAF VR was canon. Therefore, in the FNAF universe, they only exist as a video game character canonically, so seeing them appear in the real world would be confusing, but not impossible given that Glitch Trap is currently sentient code and also seems to be pulling things out of the Fazbear archives. More on that in a couple days, because I recorded that video a while ago, but I think it's going out like Sunday should be the release. That's on Sunday. I'll talk more about whatever Glitch Trap's doing. However, MatPat proposed that this animatronic revealed at the end of the first Freddy and Friends video is actually Baby, like we see here in the Fazbear Frights epilogues. And while that could be the case, I don't know how accurate that can be. Considering how the final book revealing this twist, they were said to come out after the initial release of Security Breach, so perhaps that was the intention, that it would be Baby, but it would have just been a mystery in this game and then revealed properly in the books, but now the surprise is kind of spoiled, but oh well, it's still something. And it's in Glamrock Freddy. Glamrock Freddy is one of the new Glamrock animatronics in Security Breach. He is obviously the Glamrock version of Freddy Fazbear. Glamrock Freddy is based off the original Freddy Fazbear, but with an early UK 1970s vibe. Similar to Toy Freddy, he has a top hat, now with the thin blue stripe just above its brim. His microphone is now on a stand in which Glamrock Freddy holds so he can pull some sweet moves. And he is more rectangular in shape, but we still love a blocky boy. A light blue stripe is seen at the center of his bottom jaw. Glamrock Freddy within the game is Gregory's protector, attempting to help him survive until 6 AM and escape, with the player being able to climb into his stomach, which is being referred to as the birthday cake hatch on the PlayStation blog, and take control and hide from and evade other animatronics in certain sections. However, this usage is limited, and he will lose power and be forced to recharge before he can use him again. He was voiced by Kellen Goff, who also voiced Funtime Freddy in Sister Location, Rockstar Freddy, Mr. Hippo, and Funtime Foxy in Ultimate Custom Night, and an unused Bonnie voice from FNAF VR. And at 9, Nightmare Ballora. Nightmare Ballora is a piece of work, holy crap. With thin like needles and that signature torn and battered Nightmare aesthetic, this is what I expect when I think about a Nightmare version of a character we have already seen. However, I'm getting some serious Fuerza from Flash Season 7 vibes here, especially from this image posted onto the FNAF subreddit by user Demolition Inevitable. And the rest of these are just terrifying, okay? Even the ones that most people would consider bad are actually messed up. This is the first animatronic on this list that really made me feel unsafe. And at 8, Ignited Funtime Freddy. Ah yes, a throwback to the meta numbers. A fan edit of a fan game. The Ignited animatronics from the fan game The Joy of Creation, a game where you play as Scott Cawthon and his family after he retires from FNAF and the animatronics come after him. Uh-oh, that sounds frighteningly familiar. But these animatronics are more destroyed than their previous counterparts, basically having their withered versions be set on fire, as I guess they tried to escape the hellscape that is the FNAF world. So that in essence is what Ignited Funtime Freddy looks like. Take a withered version of Funtime Freddy and then set them on fire and you'll basically have Ignited Funtime Freddy. With missing exosuit, casing on his legs pretty much every time, and other exposed bits of endoskeleton. Scott would be glad that at least in the game's universe he ended it before Sister Location was even a thought, since even Bon Bon is after him this time. And we all know how that's gonna end. And at 7, Springlich. Springlich was meant to appear in the FNAF fan game Dormitibus, another game that I love to come back to in order to find scary animatronics. There wasn't much planned for Springlich, but he was present in the Dormitibus beta. Modeled by Golden Nexus, Springlich is a green version of what seems to be Scraptrap, with similar proportions to the head. However, this game was released before FNAF 6, so that's probably just a coincidence. Springlich's head is on backwards, meaning that he walks backwards while looking at you, and this was planned to be part of his minigame, since it would then make it possible for him to be tripped and and stumble to actually kind of get away. The character appears to be a spring lock victim, but with not much remaining on the inside. However, you can also see scratches and tears on the outside, like with all worn down animatronics. Someone needs to use better fabric for these guys. And at 6, Shadow Spring Bonnie. Shadow Spring Bonnie is one of the 2 primary antagonists of Final Nights 2. He is also one of the final animatronics in the game. Shadow Spring Bonnie resembles Springtrap, as to be expected when mentioning spring-lock suits, and similar to Springtrap, he lacks the suit on his feet and has a majority of his right ear missing. Overall, he has rips, but he's not really missing any limbs or parts at all, which is a stark contrast to the burnt animatronics from the first 4 nights of that game. His face glows white, which is notable when he's in the hallway, but also gives him a more sinister appearance, and pushes that something supernatural idea like most Shadow animatronics have, like Shadow Bonnie from FNAF AR. Shadow Spring Bonnie takes the roles of Burnt Freddy and Burnt Foxy on night 5, so he's very fast and the player has to seal the vent quickly or else they'll get jump scared, and he also may appear in the hallway. Although you can never use the flashlight on this character, otherwise you'll get insta-kill. Inspect his face when he appears outside the door though, and if he's twitching you'll need to close the door. A rattling sound will let you know when he's on the left, but the fact that you need to look at his face to see if you're in danger is horrifying, especially when most of what you need to do in these games relies on fast reflexes. Halfway through into number 5, Reaper Puppet. Ah yes, my arch nemesis, the Reaper Puppet. If you didn't know, the Reaper Puppet was the first fan animatronic ever featured on this channel. The first FNAF video by me on the channel was on January 29, 2020 though. Can you believe that? It's been nearly 2 years. And the video I'm talking about came out a month later on February 24th, 2020. So I have a long history with this character. The Reaper Puppet, along with Shadow Bonnie and the brother from Final Nights 1, are the only animatronics in the entire Final Nights series to start off the night outside. Reaper Puppet appears to be a counterpart to the original series puppet, though it is only the Reaper Puppet's head that is similar to the core series puppet. The rest of its body is dark shades of black, and it has a long, stretching arms with sharp fingers at its hand. It's like the Grim Reaper, okay? Like a Reaper Puppet. He has multiple tentacle-like legs as well, which only makes me more sus. The Reaper Puppet can easily be mistaken for a tree, and its legs are like long roots and the shoulders look like branches, but this thing is so creepy and I always include it on this list. But I was so creeped out when I first saw this animatronic. Like how kids in Fazbear Frights are drawn to the restaurants, I'm drawn to the Reaper Puppet. And at 4, Slasher Fredbear. Slasher Fredbear by DeviantArt user PlayStation Jedi is an unholy abomination that must be stopped. I've talked about the Slasher animatronics before, particularly in the Bonnie alternate versions list. However, Slasher Fredbear is so much worse. He may not have a shotgun axe guitar, but oh my god. Let me read the description of this animatronic in the words of PlayStation Jedi himself. Quote, "The largest and strongest of all Slasher animatronics, Slasher Fredbear is an unstoppable force with enhanced strength and durability. Fredbear is capable of smashing through walls, withstanding lots of punishment, and grabbing heavy objects and throwing them across the room. While Fredbear uses his great strength to pick up and rip people in half, if he needs a quick kill, he can extend a blade mounted to his wrist to cut through people like butter. Or if he needs a ranged attack, he can use his 2 wrist-mounted LMG guns. Fredbear can switch between these weapons on the fly, either using 2 LMG guns, 2 blades, or 1 on each wrist." What the actual fuck? LMG stands for light machine gun, by the way, okay? Holy mother Christ. Like, this guy is going to make me cry myself to sleep, not to mention the spikes covering his body and the incredible amount of blood soaking him, because of course he does. Of course he needs it. And at 3, Sinister Baby. The Sinister animatronics have become somewhat of a staple on these lists for me now, and I mean, it's clear why. While the original Baby is sinister in scheme, this one just looks like it's going to rip your guts out and get inside you, and not in a fun way. The real look to these kinds of things is basically like a repaired Nightmare animatronic, with a clean exterior but the sharp teeth of a nightmare. Now, I'm not too sure if this is another fan-made character based off the fan game, or if it was actually going to be in the main fan game that has the Sinister animatronics, but at the very least, Sinister Baby is based on the unfinished and unreleased fan game Sinister Turmoil. And while we got 2 basically demo games to play before the game was ultimately cancelled, we never really got to see this animatronic in action if it wasn't made by a fan of the game. It's terrifying, it's horrific, and it's worthy of the top 3. And ultimately, in at number 2, Havoc Chica. Do I even need to explain? Havoc Chica, aka Maria, is a Havoc animatronic that hails from the Dormitibus universe. She is the Havoc version of Chica, Chica, obviously, and is a failed attempt by the Havoc puppet to give her spirit a physical form. While having the same color scheme as Chica, the two look nothing alike, thankfully. The mask Havoc Chica wears has a good amount of damage done to it. Her right eye socket has grown in size, arching upwards towards her feathers. The rest of her mask has small withering in a few places, mainly near her right eye socket and her forehead. She has no eyes, resulting in her being blind. Her jaw isn't directly connected to her head like the Chica from FNAF 1. Instead, her jaw looks more like her withered counterpart. Her jaw, in addition to this, has withering on both sides of it and some towards the front. Her entire head is attached to a suitless limb segment, making her head stick out from her body, and it's grotesque and nauseating to look at. She looks like this. Finally, in at number 1, Sinister Freddy. Sinister Freddy, while potentially being the thumbnail for this video, was also intended on releasing with the cancelled Sinister Turmoil fan game. Instead of the full game, however, we got Sinister Turmoil Sewers, which is a small section of what would have been the full game. Sinister Freddy is a brown animatronic bear with a lighter shade of brown on his stomach, snout, and the insides of his ears. He appears to have damage on his suit, but still has the sharp teeth and no eyes. His whole suit appears to be severely withered, having large rips and tears on several pieces of his body, and Sinister Freddy sports large needle-like weapons on his wrists, kinda like hidden blades, but they're not hidden at all. He also appears to have small geometrically shaped claws and nails. Sinister Freddy also has a mouth with sharp teeth, as per usual, and some under his body that you can actually see if you look really closely, but you don't want to get too close, otherwise he's gonna bite your head off like Pennywise. I don't like it, but it's absolutely terrifying and deserved to be number 1, even over the Dermitibus animatronics, so yeah. And at 10, anatomically correct entered. Okay, no joke, I find this actually terrifying. Like a realistic metal zombie in a way. Anatomically correct entered is best described by its name. It's a version of Ennard where the metal parts that surround his body, his innards I guess, are actually anatomically correct. Like they would form what looks like actual muscles. So there's more around the chest and they're like in the direction that like the muscle tendons and stuff would be under your skin. And that makes it horrifying and just terribly uncomfortable to look at, especially his face. And like, you know that, you stare at my face all day in videos, like you get what I mean. I don't know what it is about this Ennard's face, but like without the mask he just looks like a terrifying villain out of a Scooby-Doo movie, but like more realistic. Like if the latest iteration of like the live action Scooby Gang with like Robbie Amell as Fred Jones had gotten a 3rd movie and they actually tried to make it scary, this is what they would be. Like why is this necessary? Who felt compelled to make this and why did you subject me to it as well? Like I'm sorry if you didn't know about this, but whoever made it, it's their fault, not mine. Wait, if it's anatomically correct, does that mean it has a... And at 9, Toy Chica. Toy Chica is a simple animatronic, but a scary one, equipped with security functions that allow it to scan everyone it sees. Anyone in the sex offender shuffle is luckily going to stay far away from the pizzeria, but if you manage to get by, the actual design of the thing will be enough to make you leave. Chica is a chicken, which means that they have beaks, but Toy Chica doesn't have a beak. Sure, it starts off having a beak, but by the time it would help you, the damn thing is gone. Plus, don't even get me started on the fact that the majority of pictures that pop up when you Google Toy Chica are things that kids should not be seeing. Get your cupcake away from there! It doesn't belong there! Stop it! First appearing in Five Nights 2 and later Ultimate Custom Night, Toy Chica is just god-awful without the beak. How could it fall off in the first place? It's attached to your face. And at 8, Ennard. Ennard is literally the insides of 5 different animatronics, basically just walking around with his guts and the guts of 4 other people visible to anyone who wants to see, or doesn't want to see. Plus there's also the fact that to escape from sister location, they scoop out your guts and replace them with themselves, making you their flesh suit while also infusing you with the remnant metal. So even after they've noped out of you, your rotting corpse can still walk around and become the Garden Pizzeria Simulator. Plus when he takes that like mask off, it's just like 3 eyes. Yeah, 3 eyes with one hanging off his cheek. It's too much. I can't. No. I think the worst part is that he ends up having to insert himself into you like some weird kinky crap, but then ejects himself to go find a new fresh flesh suit. Hey, that's kind of like a tongue twister. New fresh flesh suit. Man, that's hard. Oh, and the damn nightmare version I saw when I googled him, even if it's just fan-made, I can't anymore. This looks worse than Pennywise. He looks like a clown with a stash of pillows under his floorboard with his victims in the attic. I can't. I don't know why I said the pillows. I did though. And it's 7 Biddy Bap. The Biddy Baps are a pair of tiny animatronics appearing in Sister Location that could also have up to 7 members of the little Biddy cult or whatever it is. The 2 we see are only active in Night 2 during the game. They're small, baby-like animatronics with pale skin and oddly colored eyes. At the beginning of Sister Location, you hide under a desk while you hear the 2 talking about stuff you only listen to if you're MatPat, then need to fight to keep the door closed as they try to push through. The fact that you can see their eyes poking through while you're fighting to close the door only makes it worse. This is by far one of the most intense moments of the series. Plus, it's the purest form of nightmare fuel, especially if you're a parent. To watch these things peel their face off to reveal their animatronic interiors, I just can't. It feels wrong. And it's 6 Music Man. This guy is always smiling, and not like the good kind of smiling that gives you the rev of always being happy, but literally showing all your teeth with your mouth in like a rectangle smile. This animatronic is one of the purchasable products in Pizzeria Simulator. He can be found in the rare finds auction section of the catalog, and can also be unlocked by fishing him out of the Ball Pit Tower minigame. He made a return in Ultimate Custom Night as one of the selectable characters, as they all did. Activating this character will cause him to spawn behind you. He sounds sensitive, meaning that if you make noise, he will crash his cymbals together. The more noise you make, the faster the crashing, until eventually he just jump scares the hell out of you. Music Man can be activated by Phantom Mangle and Mangle's Gargles, Phone Guy Calls, the Monitor, and the Fan. The Fan. This guy is basically a musical spider, and if I wanted to deal with that, I'd watch Charlotte's Web. If you've seen other videos, you'll know I hate spiders, and this is honestly just terrible. And he's behind you and you can't see him, which makes it even worse. You have to go off sound, and if you're trying to do like the 2020 thing, like no. And at 5, Nightmare Mangle. Nightmare Mangle is the really screwed up version of Mangle who first appeared in the Halloween update for Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Sure, original Mangle is scary, with a jaw that can unhinge and the one who caused the bite of 87, but this Nightmare Mangle takes it to a whole new level of terror. Removing what can only be described as flesh, you see the horrifying internal endoskeleton of the animatronic. Throw on a few extra arms, legs, and even heads, and you'll be spooking me for days. In FNAF 4, this replaces Nightmare Foxy in the closet, so make sure you keep checking that, otherwise you'll be screwed. But it also makes an appearance in Ultimate Custom Night, since again, they literally all do. In Ultimate Custom Night, Nightmare Mangle comes down the right hall, but you can prevent it from entering the office by buying the Funtime Foxy plushie from the prize corner. If you don't though, it's one of the scariest jump scares in the game, but mostly because of the extra head. And at 4, Scrap Baby. Sometime between the events of the 5th and 6th game, Baby ends up getting kicked out of the Ennard clan. There's a conversation in the source code of Scott Cawthon's 2 websites to back this up, where Baby is getting voted off the island. After this, Baby somehow finds a way to rebuild her shell, and finds her way to the back alley of Pizzeria Simulator trying to get inside, and failing until you bring her in. Scrap Baby is terrifying. Being horribly disfigured and knocked down, the player has to salvage the animatronic since that's the whole point of the game. But when she attacks, oh my god, it's terrifying and very intense. In Ultimate Custom Night, she has a very interesting gameplay mechanic where she is sitting next to the desk slumped over. There is a panel next to her that allows you to shock her at the cost of 1% of power. This won't make a difference until she has moved. If she has, shocking her will cause her to leave and never return. But if you don't notice, she will jump scare you the next time you bring up your monitor. And at 3, Jacko Chica. This is the scariest version of Chica by far. Sure, there is a Jacko Bonnie, but the Chica is just the worst. It's a nightmare version of Chica, but with fiery eyes and stomach. Oh my god. In Ultimate Custom Night, this version has some damn creepy lines. After getting killed by Jacko Chica, you can hear things like, "The fire within me burns eternal and now yours shall as well," and "I am a burning reminder of your misdeeds," which is totally fun, you know? But they also replaced Chica's cupcake with a jack-o'-lantern. Come on, the cupcake was the best part! This is for sure the scariest thing about the animatronic. Forget the torn flesh, glowing cracks, eyes, and rows of teeth. Okay, maybe it's not. While Jacko Chica may not be canon, it's something I can't unsee, especially when the jack-o'-lantern has its own jump scare. Like what? Even the cupcake doesn't have that. Rude. And at 2, Night Marionette. Also making its first appearance in the Halloween update for Five Nights 4, Night Marionette, also known as Nightmarion or Nightmare Puppet, this character is a horrifying version of the puppet. He uses the same behavior as Nightmare in this game. Night Marionette is the skinniest of all animatronics. His hands are long and just 3 fingers. He has an exposed rib cage that protrudes from his back, and his legs are long and look like they are made of symbiote from a Spider-Man movie. In Ultimate Custom Night, he appears inside the office in random areas, and you must avoid putting your mouse over top top of him to make him go away, otherwise he will materialize and he will jump scare you once he's solid. He also makes an appearance in Help Wanted, where he will appear in the second Night of Terror's level, which is fair enough because after seeing him I will never be the same. The lack of color makes him even more terrifying and I don't know if I can sleep tonight. Finally, in at number 1, Nightmare. Nightmare is almost identical to Nightmare Fredbear, with the same model but a black body and yellow top hat and bow tie. In Five Nights 4 he will appear in Night 7, replacing every other animatronic, which is honestly intimidating as f***. He doesn't need support to come and kill you, he'll do that on his own. He's a lone wolf, doesn't need a pack to be confident in his abilities, and he's everywhere but also nowhere. The only way you can tell which direction he's coming from is by listening to the footsteps present in the game. In Ultimate Custom Night, he's invisible until he reaches your door, where you can only see eyes. You need to listen for laughter and look out for eyes in order to know when he's coming. Laughing in scary games is torture. It's crazy and sadistic. He enjoys torturing his victims before death, and this is evident by his action in Ultimate Custom Night, but also the way he speaks when he kills you, essentially talking down to you and talking as if he's gloating that he killed you, which is rude as f***. And at 10, Reaper Puppet. While the Reaper Puppet may not be canon to the Five Nights series, he originates from a popular fan-made game series called Final Nights. Reaper Puppet is one of the main antagonists in Final Nights 3 Nightmares Awoken, where he will climb over a railing to get into your hospital room. He also returns in the final game of the series, Final Nights 4 Fates Entwined, where he looks even more gruesome. In the third game he looks similar to the puppet we all know and Night Marionette combined. His legs are curled like Ursula's tentacles, and the arms are so thin they're worse than mine. He has sharp fingers that in all honesty appear tree-like, where his legs are the roots and his arms are the branches. The way he just climbs towards the door is so creepy, and you need to confront him to get him to leave. And in the fourth game he looks like the puppet mixed with Jeff the Killer, like Night Marionette on some form of substance that would be classified as illegal and might have a similar name to that of a famous soda brand.
Number 9, Phantom Puppet. Just because the Phantom animatronics can't hurt you in FNAF doesn't mean that you don't have anything to be scared of. Phantom Puppet is one of the most terrifying to gaze on of the animatronic puppets for me. Because, you know, Puppet himself has always reminded me of the Babadook from the horror film of the same name. And in this incarnation, Puppet looks to be even closer to the creepy, shadowy, monstrous figure of the film. Any other Babadook fans see a resemblance here? Do you know what I'm talking about? His shadowy appearance also only makes him more frightening, as it masks the details of his appearance. But it doesn't mask them fully. We can still just see enough of the outline of his mouth and features to make our imaginations run wild, and our heartbeat just a little quicker. The only thing that isn't somewhat dimmed when it comes to his features are his blindingly illuminating pupils, which stare at you, making you want to freeze where you are. Ugh, those pupils. Ugh. Number 8, Rockstar Chica. Rockstar Chica is known for her boisterous and intimidating attitude. She also seems to revel in attacking you in FNAF, which makes her a great and frightening antagonist to play with in Ultimate Custom Night. And when it comes to her appearance, her sunken eyes and overly colorful display, as well as the explosive speech bubble on her bib that reads, "Let's rock," obviously a play on her other bib which says "Let's eat," is what I find so off-putting about her. Ultimate Custom Night, her determined attitude makes her a fearsome enemy, and the only way to deter her in the game is through the wet sign, which you have to place on whichever side of the office you hear her approaching from. And watch out, cause Rockstar Chica is fast, and she will charge right at you, sometimes before you have enough time to react. Number 7, Withered Foxy. Withered Foxy is super scary to me because of his exposed jaw and teeth, as well as his endoskeletal ear. Endoskeletal. Is that a word? Well, it is now. Where before in the original Five Nights Freddy was already pretty rough looking, he is now even more tattered. While he might not be missing any limbs, this just means he is one of the most capable of all of the withered animatronics. More limbs to, you know, run after you, pounce at you, and, you know, tear you apart with, in my fearful mind. Please don't tear me apart, Foxy. Please don't do it. Withered or otherwise, I don't want you tearing me apart. Number 6, Funtime Chica. One of the scariest things about Funtime Chica's appearance for me is the dividing lines in her face. The metal plates that cover her are sectioned off, making it look like her face could open up from the center, revealing the sinister endoskeleton beneath. Also, her cupcake! Ugh! Her cupcake looks super terrifying. It's got these tiny razor-sharp teeth, and it appears to look suspiciously calm when compared to its nightmare version. Almost like it's, you know, trying to get you to let down your guard so that it can then proceed to, I don't know, like just chew your face off. In FNAF, you don't eat cupcakes. Cupcakes eat you. Her more realistic 5 fingers also just wig me out. Funtime Chica appears in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, but she's also a character you can play with in the Ultimate Custom Night game. Number 5, Plush Babies. Plush babies! Not as cute as they sound. These little plushies are the antagonists in the VR FNAF game, Help Wanted. They're each slightly different, smaller, and more terrifying versions of animatronic Circus Baby. Each has a different colored dress: blue, yellow, red. The yellow plush baby is missing an eye, while the blue plush baby has red stitching on her torso. There are also frightening versions of the plush babies that more closely resemble Scrap Baby. These versions includes a modification of the one-eyed yellow plush baby, who also now appears to have black liquid like oozing from her eye sockets. Ugh. By the way, anything clown inspired, and I'm pretty much just out. I'm just gonna put it out there. Clowns are creepy. I don't like them. You heard it here first, folks. Number 4, Foxy. Probably one of the most terrifying animatronics from the original game, in my opinion. Foxy first appeared in the original Five Nights at Freddy's game and has reappeared in many of the sequels, albeit sometimes in a different form. Foxy is known for being shy, hiding behind the curtain at Pirate Cove in the first game. But also, he demands your attention. Not watching Foxy as often will lead to him bursting out from behind his curtain and sprinting towards you, punishing you by pouncing on you and killing you. And he's a challenging one to close the door on in time because he's so fast. So you definitely don't want him coming out to play. It's dangerous. At his speed and his broken down and pirate-like appearance with hook hand and rows of sharp teeth, and it's easy to understand why he's still considered to be just one of the most terrifying animatronics that FNAF has to offer. Number 3, Golden Freddy. This is a yellow version of the original Freddy Fazbear from the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, but with a few other slight differences. Nothing big. Just holding a microphone with dark blue clothes instead of black, a dark blue tinted hat, and a dark blue bow tie, and oh yeah, his eyes are missing! When compared to the original Freddy Fazbear, Golden Freddy made for quite the surprising and terrifying sight. What's worse than, animatronic eyes staring at you? An animatronic without eyes staring at you. How are you staring at me? Stop that. In Ultimate Custom Night, if you've managed to unlock all of the cutscenes, you will be rewarded by viewing Golden Freddy in the final cutscene, who can be seen twitching uncontrollably in pitch black darkness. True, scary story. Number 2, Nightmare Freddy. This version of Freddy first appeared in FNAF 4. He is more tattered with a bent ear and missing toes from his suit. Overall, his design, although very torn, appears more lifelike when it comes to the shape of his body. This version of Freddy has more menacing looking pointed teeth, which are also more exposed. His eyes staring at you, shining a reddish yellow. And he doesn't just have one terrifying Freddy Fazbear head. Oh no, 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 no. He has three miniature Freddy Fazbear animatronics known as Freddles. Oh, what a cute name. It's not scary. Also come along with him, appearing to be stitched to Nightmare Freddy, melded with him. Gross. Ew. Ick. Number 1, Springtrap. Springtrap is an early withered, run-down model of a Bonnie suit. In fact, Phone Guy refers to this animatronic in-game as Spring Bonnie. But the suit comes with a bonus. It also houses the mutilated corpse of William Afton. Springtrap is the main antagonist in FNAF 3 and is as evil as the corpse of the man who rots within it. William Afton himself is known in the game as the serial killer responsible for the missing children incident, referred to in the game. Afton was also the owner and operator of Afton Robotics Inc., where Fazbear Entertainment got all their creepy animatronics. Thanks for that, Afton. Thank you. And if you look closely at Springtrap, you can see between the holes in its suit the remaining guts and torn flesh of Afton, and his mummified head. It's in there. It's gross. It's all shriveled and pink. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this list and didn't find it too spooktacular. Just spooktacular enough.